Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that's about, 2,500 years old, but you'll see it has this incredibly modern lesson about leadership and really about how we get through the dangerous parts of life.
So let's start with the question we all have to ask ourselves sometimes. When things get tough and the way forward is, totally unclear, who do you actually trust to lead you through it? Turns out this is a problem the Buddha himself brought up with his followers, right there on the banks of the Ganges River.
And the way he explained it was with this simple but really powerful story. It's a tale of two shepherds, two different choices, and, as you'll see, two very different endings.
Okay, first up, let's meet the foolish cowherd. Now, the original Pali text calls him a dupanyajatiko, and that basically means someone who is just naturally unwise. You know the type. Impulsive, reckless, doesn't really think things through.
So let's break down his method, if you can even call it that. It is a total recipe for disaster. First, he doesn't even bother to check the riverbank where he's starting. He has absolutely no clue what the other side looks like. And then, get this, he just drives his entire herd into the water at a random, dangerous spot. The text calls this an itidi, which means it's not a real safe crossing point. It's just a bad idea.
And, the result is exactly what you'd expect. And it's tragic. The whole herd gets swept up in the current, caught in a whirlpool, and they're just gone. Total disaster. This foolish shepherd is the perfect example of what the Buddha calls an akusala, an unskilled guide, someone who doesn't lead people to safety, but straight into suffering.
But then, the Buddha flips the script completely. He introduces us to another shepherd, and this one is the polar opposite. He's a sapanyajatiko, a wise, skillful, and really thoughtful guide.
And what's so striking here is just how careful this guy is. I mean, he leaves nothing to chance. He carefully checks out the starting point, he makes sure the destination on the other side is safe, and only after he's done all that homework does he find a proper, safe ford, a titha, to get his herd across.
His strategy is just brilliant. It's not a mad dash, it's an orderly procession. He sends the strongest bulls in first, to break the force of the current. Then come the other strong cattle, then the younger ones, and finally, the weakest calves at the very end. It's all about protecting the most vulnerable. And it works so well that even a tiny newborn calf makes it across, safe and sound, basically carried along by the momentum of its mother right in front of it.
So when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day, right? One path is reckless and leads to total ruin. The other is wise, careful, and brings every single one of them to safety.
Okay, so at this point you might be thinking, all right, that's a nice story about cows, but this is where it gets really deep, because this isn't just about herding cattle. It's a huge metaphor for something much bigger.
And this is where the Buddha pulls back the curtain and shows us what the story is really about. That river, it's not just the Ganges.
Yeah, that dangerous swirling river is actually a metaphor for the stream of existence itself. It's called Mara's stream. Think of it as the current of temptation, of confusion, of suffering, the whole cycle of life and death, all presided over by this figure called Mara, the tempter.
And the other shore, that safe place the wise shepherd checked out so carefully, that's Nibbana. It's the ultimate goal, a state of total safety, liberation, and peace, completely free from that dangerous current.
So, you see where this is going, right? If the river is suffering and the far shore is freedom, then the herd is us. We're the ones trying to get to that safe shore. And that means the shepherd is the spiritual guide.
And here's the really cool part. The way the wise shepherd organized his herd. It's a map of the spiritual path. Each group of cattle represents a different stage of awakening. Those strong bulls leading the way, they are the arahants, the fully enlightened ones who've already made it across. The strong steers are the non-returners, and it goes all the way down to that little newborn calf. That calf represents the faith followers, people who are just starting out but are making it across safely because they trust the guide and the path he's laid out. And then comes the big reveal. The Buddha makes the connection unmistakable. He says, I am that skillful shepherd. He calls himself the Cūḷagopālakasutta. He's the one who knows this world and the next, inside and out. He's seen both sides of the river, and he's found the safe way across for everyone.
And all of this builds to a conclusion that's just incredibly powerful and full of hope.
He basically offers this story, this teaching, as a trustworthy map to get to that other shore. And he makes a promise.
For anyone who's willing to listen, anyone who's willing to place their trust in this path, the result is guaranteed: long-term well-being and happiness.
The whole thing ends with this absolutely stunning line, Viabatam amatidwaram. It means the deathless door is opened. I mean, what a message of hope, right? The path to freedom, the way across that dangerous river, it's not some hidden secret. It's not impossible. It's been found, it's been mapped out, and the door is wide open for anyone.
So we end up right back where we started. This story, it's not just some ancient fable, is it? It's a question that's as relevant today as it was 2,500 years ago. It really makes you think. In your own life, when you're facing those difficult currents, who are your wise shepherds? And maybe more importantly, how do you know they're the ones who can actually get you to the other side?